back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we are back for another episode of the Real Housewives of Potomac. And this is season. Hold on. Y'all know I ain't always prepared for this. Season 9, episode 10 is called "Love Is in the Fast Lane." And okay, the reason why. You know, if I start off a review where I don't have much to say, it's because I did not like this episode. It was very much a filler, and I was kind of bored. Unpopular opinion. I'm just going to say it. So, can we be honest? Can we be transparent here? Without Mia on the show, there's not much of a storyline. And because I do not like Mia's storyline and what she is going on, because I don't like Mia, they're starting to lose me. I'll be honest. For me, that's what's happening. I'm kind of just like, okay, I don't care about this Mia situation anymore, just because I don't believe half things that Mia says, if any of it. And the way they're just exploiting so many different things, it just makes me look at them like, okay, none of y'all are good people. I don't care. And everyone else on the show is just kind of like they're barely clocked in, to be honest. Like, I don't know. Like, there really is nothing going on for the most part. Like, Stacey does have some things going on, but even that, I'm kind of like, I don't know. And maybe I just got spoiled because, like, we've had all these other shows where they've had a lot going on. And this is just one of those that doesn't seem like it does. But maybe I just feel this way because it's a filler episode. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. It's just, I don't know. I guess I was expecting more because this is like the Black Housewives show. So like this is like, so my expectations, I ain't gonna hold you. I have different expectations when it's a Black show versus like it being just like, you know, just a normal Housewives cast. Even, and honestly, to a certain extent, I have those same expectations for Real Housewives Miami. The only difference is Real Housewives Miami has not disappointed me, not yet once since the reboot. So everything, it's that's kind of my bar, and I feel like Potomac has that in them, but they're just, I don't know, something's missing. Something is missing for me here. I was bored, because. I mean, plenty of housewife shows have filler shows. For example, and you already know, Whisper says hi. For example, Salt Lake City, their filler episode was the Bar Mitzvah episode, in my opinion, the Mazel Tov episode. But people clocked in, and I didn't realize that was a filler episode. It just was kind of mid compared to some of the other episodes, but it was still overall good. This episode this week, when it came Potomac, I was not moved. I was bored. I had to actually watch it a second time because I didn't remember any of it. It just was, there it is. I feel like a lot of what's going on this season with Potomac, none of it's memorable. And that's not good. I am not expecting every moment on the show to be iconic, but like, I had to rewatch the show because I didn't remember what happened because it just wasn't that memorable. Anyway, this is not gonna be a long review. I'm trying to stretch it just a little bit, but it really isn't gonna be that long. So let's get into it. So the first thing we actually have Gizelle with her daughters, all three of them, Grace, Angel, and the door. And they're talking about her father and kind of the battle that Gizelle has to do next, because apparently we find out that he did not have a will when he passed away, and this is all according to Gizelle, because I'm sure the courts and all that's going to handle this, but really, really close to his passing, like around the time he was getting surgery, so that time frame of him being in the hospital and then passing away shortly after. So there's all of a sudden there's a will that he signed, and for those who don't know, he had a brain tumor. He died of of having a brain tumor, and his that was cancerous, and they didn't, because it's been there, and it wasn't prevented, earlier on, he died, unfortunately. So based off of that, Giselle straight up says, look, he was not in the right state of mind or even capacity enough where he would be able to even hold a pen, let alone sign a will. So they're fighting it because this is one of those weird cases where it actually benefits her. If there is no will, the money will then go to the children evenly. And so, I know Giselle has a brother. I don't know if she has any other siblings, but we'll go evenly. But with this will that's out there allegedly, it wouldn't go to, she wouldn't get a dime. So, and this is the part that just gets really, really complicated. And so as she's talking to her daughters about this, she's also kind of saying it as a lesson, and also it's kind of it's that overdue conversation where she's talking to her kids, because now they're basically adults now, of, okay, we need to plan so that you guys don't get screwed out when the time comes for you. And it's beyond me that the children were just wiser than Giselle. She's like, why don't you just do what Pastor Brian did? Just put it in a trust. Because a trust can't be broken. If you make a trust, it can't be broken. It actually, even from what I've heard, and this is people who are a little bit more in the know, a trust can be is unbroken. Even a will can't break a trust. Once the trust is a trust, it's done. And so Giselle ends it kind of jokingly, but I think she was serious. But she was like, I don't trust these people. I don't know. And I'm like, girl, if you do not make a trust for your kids and call it good, because she somehow tied it into her remarrying and stuff like that. And to me, that didn't really make sense, because again, you can still do a trust without, a trust is your thing. You don't need to be, I'm confused. Help me understand. Maybe I'm missing it. But anyway, that's pretty much what happens here. And then we go on to the next scene. And the next scene is TJ is playing in Stacy's face, as well as trying to play in ours. That's what's happening here. So he's at the house, her apartment that she has, cooking for her. And what I'm finding odd and kind of weird is, why are you always at her spot? What's that about? Why are your dates never going out? I understand you probably want to keep a low profile for the divorce, but according to you, you're not really doing that. So what's the reason why you can't be having a dinner date? Or, even the things that you say that were kind of free-ish, like the park and stuff like that. Why is it you guys are always inside her place? Child, I'm saying this for a reason, because I actually had a situation, the last relationship I was in, this was one of those flags I didn't know was a red flag. Because, child, as much as I'm judging Stacy, we all have a little Stacy in us, and that's me included. I've had Stacy's. I've been a lot like Stacy multiple times throughout my life. And this is actually the main reason why I'm single right now, because we're trying to unstacy some of the Stacy tendencies as far as being naive and trusting people out here like that. And also just not reading the tea leaves of, it may not necessarily be a red flag, but it's something you need to pay attention to. And one of the things that I'm mentioning, it does tie into this. A huge red flag is you never get to see the person you're dating's place. They're always coming to your place. That's a problem. Because if they're not comfortable with you being in their place, why are you comfortable dating them? Because if their excuse is, my home's my sanctuary, well, so is mine. So why are you able to be in my home all willy-nilly and I can't be in yours? That's one of the things you have to look out for. And my last situation, it wasn't because he was like, taken or anything like that. It was never that. It actually was. I'm not going to put his business out there, but there was a reason. We'll just leave it at that. But anyway, so when it comes to this, I just don't like this. And then after he basically makes the dinner and stuff like that, one thing is he's kind of overly bossy for not doing anything as far as wooing her. Like, he's like, she was kind of making like an Italian, kind of trying to be playful and stuff, and he was just shutting her down. Even as she was trying to be playful, he's like, well, this is my kitchen. I'm like, no, actually, it's her kitchen. You're in her house. You can like not do like. I'm just saying, we don't like TJ over here. Let's just keep it real. No. And pretty much what happens with this scene, long story less long, is that she asks him, hey, how do you feel if I date other people besides you? And his reaction is not really a reaction that someone who you would want to be with's reaction should be. Stacey, I'm speaking directly to you. If this is like not a scheme that you set up to come to us with the BS, and you really are this naive, girl, there's so many signs that this man is not interested. And by him just saying the words of I'm kind of like him just like giving you some words of affirmation here or there does not mean he's interested. I'm just confused, but that's pretty much what happens here. And he basically just says, well, if you're dating, I'm going to date too. But it's like, I can't see him dating anyone. And yes, I'm ignoring the elephant in the room that people will say dating a woman. I'm not going to say that because this is not the channel to shame anyone's sexuality, especially if he may be closeted. I don't know. I'm not going to be the one that brings him out of it. That's just not something we do over here. As a fellow LGBTQ plus, no, we're not doing that. But what I will say is, I know this is still on the spectrum of sexuality, and I'm trying not to be respectful, but I do feel like we need to speak about it because it clearly is there a little bit. I don't think it's necessarily because it's about him being heterosexual versus non-heterosexual. I don't think it's that. I think he actually might be asexual. He's giving me asexual vibes. And if he really is that, and he's not just playing in her face, that's a whole other thing of how to handle that. And especially in her case, she just got out of a relationship, got out of a marriage where she's only been with the one, well, she hasn't been intimate in a while. I don't know if it's I feel like the ladies have given her sound advice like, girl, you cannot just, why are you expecting to just go from one serious situation to another? That's not really how you figure things out. And yeah, we know that. And then the other thing is, I'm finding in this scene when she's just reciting and kind of parroting back what the ladies are saying to her, to him, and maybe she's giving me a little wishy-washy. I love her. She's great for the show. I want her to stay on the show. And so this is not necessarily an insult. It's it's a fact, in my opinion, is she's kind of giving wishy-washy. Let me know in the comments. But anyway, that's pretty much what happens here. Let's go on to the next thing. So the next thing we have is with Wendy and her sister and her mom. They go out to like kind of a brunching situation, it looks like. So I will say this, like the scenes that Wendy has whenever she's going out to eat, it makes me miss the East Coast. I think I might be overdue for a trip to either Baltimore or DC, like that part of the East Coast. Like, I have been in the East Coast, like for those who follow my travel channel. I was just in Maine back in like September. And then I think last year I was in Cape Cod. So yeah, no, I've been going East Coast, but like, I will just say like that city, urban East Coast, I haven't done that in a minute. I'm starting to miss it to a certain extent. But anyway, and this show kind of reminds me of it. But Anyway, so the reason why, so they're meeting up because Wendy never did tell her mom that she resigned from John Hopkins. And in the Nigerian culture, she's letting us know, like, being a doctor or lawyer, a scientist, I think there was like all the is of up here, of the upper echelon, being highly educated, is valued heavily in their community. So the fact that she has walked away from her being an educator is a big deal. And so her mom, fast forward, she does tell her mom, and her mom reacts not the best initially, but then I feel like Wendy tried to like lighten the blow and say, well, I mean, I didn't feel valued there. And so, I can maybe go to another university. You're making it sound like I'm done. But from the way Wendy has been telling us up to this point, I thought she was done. So did she kind of just like give her mom a little something to just kind of leave her alone a little bit? So she's not really telling her the whole truth. I'm confused. I get why, but girl, I mean, your mom's going to watch a show and find out that you really don't really want to be a professor anymore. Because I guess what I gathered was I thought she just didn't want to be a professor anymore. And I'm sure there's things, and this, correct me if I'm wrong, it depends on what her doctorate's in. Don't you have to do continuous studies to upheld, like to keep your doctorate? I was under the impression you need to do that. I don't know. I only am aware of being a doctorate in like psychology because I was actually going to go to school for that. And I know you basically have to constantly do continued studies in order to like keep that, and takes tests and exams for that. But I don't know if it's the same for all types of curriculum. So anyway, yeah, but that's pretty much what happens here. And by the way, I may not be going in order all the way. I'm trying to go as I remember because, like, again, I did not love this episode. So this next episode, you know what? It probably was. I don't think there were any group events this episode. I think it was all individual scenes this episode, and this is why I'm just not for it. I'm not with it. I think that's why this episode for me came off as a snooze fest also, is because there is no group event. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So Ashley and Giselle, they meet up to do a speed dating thing. And for those who know, you know, I've been wanting to do a speed dating thing for a long time and just bring like a girlfriend or even a guy friend to observe and do the speed dating with me to help me with my picker, because historically your girl's picker is just not the best. I do not have a great picker. So, but I've always just, and if anything, I would think it would just be fun to do. And this scene was a cute, light, fun scene, but I guess I wasn't as interested because it was Ashley and Giselle. And I don't take any of their dating seriously on the show. It gives stage, it gives fake. So I was kind of like, okay, this is cute, I guess. I mean, I don't know what to say about it. I don't feel... I mean, you know what? I'll be honest. This speed dating thing would hit differently if this were the Beverly Hills girls. Because pretty much the whole entire friend group in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills are single or heading towards Divorceville. So this would be a different type of thing if this was the Beverly Hills girls. But because it's not, and also because Ashley, I don't believe anything. Ashley's another person who I just don't believe. And Giselle, when it comes to her dating, I don't believe any of her dating either. Because after that whole Sherman thing happened, I think that was season 2 or season 3, she's never shown her dating stuff ever again. She was like, I will never be embarrassed like that on television ever again. And so she's made it so that we'll never see that. So I don't know. It was a cute scene. She ends up meeting a guy, and the guy, I guess. So the next scene is with Karen and Ray. They're in their back porch and they're talking about their relationship and then also the accident because she keeps calling it the accident. And this is another thing. We're not getting anything on Karen and we're not going to. So I think they had a potential of a good season if Karen was to be transparent about what's going on. But we knew that wasn't going to happen. And I don't fault her completely because, again, it's the second DUI. And I feel like a lot of y'all don't know that second DUI, depending on the state, she might be at risk of never getting her license back ever again. And which, again, I'm not saying that's not right. I think that's fine. And then there's also going to be potentially some jail time because I think and it depends on the state, at least in Indiana, your second DUI is a felony. It's not a misdemeanor anymore. And along with the other charges, those are some felony charges. And I don't think she wants to be a convicted felon. So I could see why she's doing what she's doing. But at the same time, it's not it. Because she's not taking any accountability. Any. Especially since we know the evidence that was out there. And, like, she had an open container, like, in her car. You know, there's no fighting that. There's no, like, if us knowing the story that we know, there's no fighting it. And so her doing this is just, I don't know. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, from a selfish standpoint, you're going to try to cover your own butt. And that's a lot of money she's going to be losing to, like, pay all that. Because, again, she shouldn't have done any of this to begin with. So we're not saying any of that's okay. But it's a costly mistake. If you are fortunate enough to, like, not harm yourself or others, it's a very costly mistake. So I don't know what she might be thinking from that standpoint. Who knows? But I don't know. Just this scene, I just kind of wasn't moved by it either. Just because it's more of Karen doing what she's been doing this whole entire time. She talks to Ray about how she's had a lot of resentment towards him throughout the years lately. And I don't believe any of this. I don't believe this scene. Because every scene when it comes to Karen talking to someone individually about the accident is very put on. It's very overly produced. And it's very obvious she is trying to control the narrative. And so I'm just no longer moved. So that's pretty much what happened here. Nothing else noble really happened. Next, we have this interesting scene, and I'm not even sure why this happened, but I guess. So KK actually ends up going to meeting Mia to discuss Mia's situation. And KK tries to provide a lot of sound advice, but at the same time, KK, I don't fault you. I think you're actually trying to do the right thing here. I am so disgusted by this whole entire scene, to be honest, because Mia, I am sick of you weaponizing mental health for your own benefit. It's actually quite disgusting. If it was Gordon, I feel like most of us would, if it was someone else and it wasn't Gordon, I feel like there would be way more outrage than there is. Because we know Gordon is not necessarily the nicest, good person either, because, I mean, he reaped what he sowed, and that's what's happening right here. It's literally a case of that happening. You know, you yourself was an adulterer, and then you attracted an adulterer, and then that person did the same thing to you that you did to, like, your wife. So when it comes to all that, no, I get that. I don't have sympathy when it comes to any of that at all. But when it comes to bipolar 1, bipolar 2, manic depressant, mania, any of that stuff. For those who know me and have heard me on this channel enough, you already know I have a family history of that. I have psychothymic disorder, which is basically bipolar 3. So I do not like this. Okay? I don't. It's, to me, it's very equated. It's equal to, like, if I'm mad and showing outrage and I'm very using my words and, you did something wrong to me, it's equally as bad as someone calling you crazy. Using the word "you're crazy." For me, people who know me know to never use that word around me, because that's what makes me be like, oh, you think I'm crazy? I can show you crazy, but not due to that. That's the reaction I will give someone because of, like, the actual real ramification. Like, that's a very offensive thing to do. For those who don't know, and it doesn't matter if the person you're talking to has mental health issues or not. Never do that. Okay? Unless someone legitimately is showing some strange behavior, and don't use it as a form of defense in an argument or gaslighting. I don't know if this is a crowd where I need to say that, but you never know. I might be dropping some gems here and there, and we don't know. But my point is, I know we went around the mulberry bush. I do not like what happened here. I know KK was trying to help, and she was coming from a very positive spot. But because I feel like Mia's lying about a lot of this stuff, and honestly, I don't trust any of those people. I don't trust Gordon. I don't trust Mia. I don't trust Ink. The fact that y'all feel like it's okay to film any of this stuff when you guys have little children who's going to watch this one day, or if they don't even watch it, their classmates will watch and tease them about it, and you don't even care, and you're exploiting, like, all of this. I don't really have any respect for it. I'll just be honest. So, like, I know KK was trying to help, but no. Because later on in the episode, by the way, Mia uses this as fuel to do her toxic stuff to Gordon. Later on. And what bothers me is, too, she said, KK said this, KK said that. And KK even said in the confessional, and I think she said it publicly, she works in like social work, but she's not a mental health professional like that. Like, I don't think she's certified to do the things that, like, that Greg does. Like, at the end of the day, if Mia really was out here for the right intentions, it would have came across a little bit more genuine instead of, like, talking to KK. Talk to an actual therapist about this, because that's another thing. So this is the other thing that I don't know if anyone called out. They went to marriage counseling last season, but Shine thought of going to individual therapy. And Gordon, I'm talking to you especially. I mean, honestly, and this is not shaming or anything like that. If he's bipolar 1, which is like the higher diagnosis of the two, technically 3, because there's spectrums when it comes to all that, because I'm in the spectrum of it. When it comes to that, though, really bipolar 2 and beyond, so the lesser versions of it, you can do health treatments and health-like stuff where you don't necessarily need medication. As far as I know, and then let me know in the comments anyone who's like who was a psychiatrist. I feel like with bipolar 1, you pretty much need to always be on medication. Or to be on medication, you also need to have a psychiatrist, because usually those type of medicines, your antidepressants and antipsychotic medications, you have to get through a psychiatrist. That's my experience that I'm saying. Like, I've never heard of you just getting it through just a regular schmegular doctor. You need to have, like, a mental health doctor. So yeah. Anyway. Okay, child. So Ashley went on second date with a guy that she met in the matchmaking show, or when she did the speed dating. They played beer pong. They seem to be really clicking, I guess. Anyway, next. So the last thing that we had is Mia with her kids, and I did not like this. And this is probably why I was done. Like there was many times the episode where I was like, oh, but this episode I was actually I'm done with Mia. I really want this to be her last season. Y'all can find someone else who's spicy and dynamic to like help create some storylines and not her. I'm sorry, but I do not like what she's doing. I don't. It's quite disgusting. So in this final scene, she basically decides she's going to have this conversation about her getting a divorce from Gordon with her kids. As if they're like little, as if they're grown kids. And if you remember, if we go back to the previous, I think it was like the previous episode when Gordon got really, really mad, that was one of his things he was upset about. He did not want to have that conversation with the kids. And for me, my problem is if you're going to be doing that kind of thing where, you know, you're not going to have like the dynamic of like, what was I going to say? Oh, my whole thing is, okay, you should not be talking to your kids about this type of subject if you guys are not going to show up as a united front. Or you have not even agreed to having the conversation. In my opinion, and y'all can weigh in and tell me if I might be wrong or I'll turn with it because I've never had to deal with this. Either scenarios, like my parents are still together, and I've never been married, so I don't know. But I guess my whole thing is, I feel like that's a discussion where both the parents, especially since they're little and y'all are cordial enough with your co-parenting, y'all needed to have a conversation of how you're going to talk to your kids about this. And honestly, I didn't necessarily need to see it on camera. I know it's an unpopular opinion. Maybe that's good with y'all. And yes, we've had other franchises where we have seen it on the camera and it was okay. For example, when it was Kyle Mauricio, I felt differently about that because her kids are grown, like they're young adult kids, like they're 16 or older. So they're aware of what's going on. They know what a divorce and all that is. They know what all that means. Whereas in this case, these are little kids and y'all did not even agree on having the conversation. And then you're just going to take it upon yourself to have the conversation. And then Gordon shows up and she starts the conversation and then she continues on as if he's not there. And one thing that KK said that she was right on, but you know that Mia's not listening or caring or paying attention to because she's very selfish, is that him having his outburst has nothing to do with his mental health, in my opinion. I think it's everything to do with her demasculating him and basically trying to make him into a cook. I mean, let's be real. I think that's all it is. And when she was talking to, and let's go back to the scene where Mia was talking to KK about like Ink's input. Ink's not your husband. And for as far as what you've been saying, and as far as what you believe, he's not the father of any of your kids. So why is he child? I never thought in a day in the life I would agree with Giselle when it comes to all the Mia stuff, but I agree 100% with everything Giselle is saying when it comes to the Mia stuff. Mia, when it comes Giselle, Mia is so deplorable that I'm liking Giselle now. Anyway, but Gordon took what he was saying. He didn't outburst or do too much this time, but he still definitely he has his issues too, by the way. I hope y'all know I'm not on Gordon's side on any of this. I'm on the kids' side. And I just think especially what Mia and Gordon are doing, I think is just dirty. And I see they're basically just two toxic people together that unfortunately brought kids into this, and are handling this in the most disgusting way possible. But yeah, I'm just kind of over it. But anyway, I don't know. There's nothing else to say about it. But that does conclude the episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac. Let me know if y'all agree with the review. I'm sorry. I normally am more upbeat when it comes to these reviews. And by the way, if you heard my Real Housewives of Salt Lake City review, y'all knew that I was under the weather. Somehow Thursday... I was feeling it Thursday during the day, and I tried to fight through it. I even went to the gym. Probably should not have done that. And, I caught a bug over the weekend. So I did not have a weekend. I actually ended up taking today off, which is Monday, to rest longer. Because also this weekend, of course, was a weekend where I had to work. So I didn't have a weekend at all. It was literally just, I stayed in the house, but to a certain extent, because I didn't know what was going on, it was actually a good thing that I was forced to stay in the house to get better, because I do feel a lot better. Yes, there's probably seeing like the dry skin or everything here. It was for me blowing my nose and whatnot. I do sound a little congested, but I'm not as congested as I was 2 days ago or even a day ago. When I blow my nose, things come out, and that's probably the reason why I sound congested right now, because I just need to blow my nose and it'll be fine. But I ran this morning, felt fine for the most part after the run, so we're getting better. I probably was good enough today to maybe even do some things, but I was like, let me give it another day or two to make sure I'm not contagious, because I don't think I have that, girl, but we're not going to chance it. And this actually is a soft reminder, once I am fully recovered, to go get more of the tests, at-home tests, so that I don't have to just guess and just self-quarantine. Because that's what your girl's been doing. I basically just guessed. I assumed the worst and just, I'm like, well, okay, we'll just self-quarantine and call it good. I'll go on a run. Don't talk to people and come back, because when it comes to illnesses of all kinds, and even if it was that, and hopefully y'all don't think I'm being irresponsible here, running helps loosen all that up for me. So like it basically speeds up my recovery. If I don't run, I'm going to be sick much longer. And I'm like, let's speed up the recovery. And I run alone. So yeah, and I have my mask. We're good. But anyway, that does conclude the video. I did manage to make it longer because, Potomac was a snooze fest. But anyway, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. Whisper says bye, and I will see you next time. Bye.